Ah, the F-35 Lightning II. You've definitely heard the name, right? It's the most expensive weapons program in human history. It's a story packed with just incredible ambition, some really crippling delays, and huge geopolitical power plays. So let's dive in and really unpack how this one aircraft tried to do the impossible.
This right here is the question that started it all, way back in the 1990s. You see, the US military and its allies, they had a problem. Their fleets were full of these legendary, but really aging, aircraft that were getting super expensive to maintain. They needed a replacement, but the solution had to be, well, pretty radical.
And that radical solution was called the Joint Strike Fighter Program. The idea was so ambitious it honestly bordered on impossible. Create one single family of stealth jets that could do the jobs of pretty much everyone else.
Now, the concept itself was a total game changer. Instead of the Air Force, the Navy, and the Marines each designing their own perfect jet for their own needs, they would all share one common platform. The thinking was this would save billions in development and manufacturing. At least, that was the theory.
And when I say the scope was massive, I mean it was massive. We're talking about replacing everything, from the super nimble F-16 and the legendary A-10 Warthog tank buster, all the way to the carrier-based FA-18 Hornet and the iconic Harrier jump jet that can land vertically. The key thing to remember is, each of these planes was a specialist, built for a specific job.
So, think about it like this. When you try to make one thing be good at absolutely everything, you are gonna have to make some compromises. An aircraft that needs to slam down onto an aircraft carrier has to be built way differently than one that lands on a perfect runway. And that's completely different from one that needs to land like a helicopter on a tiny ship.
So how in the world did they solve this impossible puzzle? Well, the program's solution wasn't to create just one jet, but 3 different versions, 3 variants, all born from that one common design, but each one tweaked for very specific mission.
And here they are, the result of all those compromises. First, you've got the F-35A. That's the standard, plain vanilla version for the Air Force. Then you have the F-35B for the Marines. This is the one with that just mind-bending ability to land vertically, like something out of a sci-fi movie. And finally, the F-35C for the Navy, built with bigger wings and seriously beefed up landing gear to handle those brutal carrier landings.
But here's the catch you have to remember. Every single one of those specialized features, it comes at a price. Those different needs create huge ripples through the whole design, and that leads to major differences in what each jet can do, and of course, what it costs.
Just take a look at the price tag. The F-35B, with that incredibly complex lift fan and a swiveling engine nozzle for its vertical landing trick, well, it's by far the most expensive one to build. We're talking regularly over $100 million for a single plane.
And you can see the performance trade-off right here. To fit that whole vertical lift system inside the F-35B, something had to go. And that something was a huge amount of internal fuel. That means its combat range is significantly shorter. On the flip side, the Navy's F-35C, designed for those long patrols over the ocean, it carries the most fuel of all 3.
You know, all this complexity didn't just impact performance on paper. It created a ripple effect that honestly almost broke the entire program. The journey from that clever idea to an actual combat-ready jet was just incredibly difficult.
It's kind of ironic, isn't it? The very thing that made the Joint Strike Fighter program so revolutionary, trying to be everything to everyone, satisfying the Air Force, the Marines, and the Navy all at once, well, that turned out to be its biggest weakness. It led to these legendary cost overruns and delays.
And this timeline, believe me, it just scratches the surface. Back in 2004, the F-35B was so overweight it couldn't even hit its targets, which forced a massive, expensive redesign. Then, a decade later, a huge engine fire grounded the entire fleet. It actually took until 2024, more than 2 decades after the contract was first won, for the Pentagon to finally give the green light for full-scale production.
So what's the final bill? Well, when you add up everything, the development, the manufacturing, and all the maintenance over decades, the total lifetime cost is projected to hit a staggering $2 trillion. Let that sink in. That is more money than the entire Apollo program that put a man on the moon, even when you adjust for inflation. It's a truly mind-boggling number.
But here's the wild twist in the story. You'd think with all those problems, all that money, all the controversy, the program would have failed, right? Well, despite everything, the F-35 hasn't just survived. It's actually taking over.
By 2024,
more than 1,000 F-35s have been delivered around the world. So, against all odds, it hasn't just been produced. It has become the go-to standard stealth fighter for the US and its most important allies. It's fundamentally reshaping air power for the next 50 years.
But, making your most advanced piece of tech the global standard, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Sure, it creates powerful bonds with your friends, but it also means that a security problem for one can become a security problem for everybody, and a major dispute with a key NATO partner was about to prove that point.
Okay, so here's the conflict in a nutshell. Turkey, which was a longtime partner in the F-35 program, decided to buy Russia's advanced S-400 air defense system. The huge fear in the US was that having this Russian system operating so close to the F-35 would allow it to spy on the jet, to learn all its stealthy secrets, and basically give an adversary the key to unlock its single biggest advantage.
The standoff ended with an absolutely dramatic decision. The United States just completely kicked Turkey out of the F-35 program, canceled their order for 100 jets, unwound their role as a key manufacturing partner, the whole thing. The message couldn't have been clearer. Protecting the F-35 secrets was more important than anything.
So, what's the big takeaway here? The F-35 is here, and it is here to stay. All those arguments about its cost and its rocky development, that's all pretty much history now. The real question looking forward is this: with all its unique strengths and all those built-in compromises we talked about, how will each country actually use its fleet of these remarkable, controversial jets